HIMARS rockets proved to be a game-changing weapon for Ukraine when they arrived last year. A former U.S. artillery officer says they now need firepower support from M26 cluster rockets. These munitions will increase the lethality of HIMARS and threaten Russian artillery. When the US-supplied high-mobility artillery rocket system first arrived in Ukraine, the difference it could make for Kiev forces was immediately apparent. This allowed him to hit Russian positions hard at distances far beyond any available artillery. Argues. The fragmentation rockets will be one step ahead of the deadly 155 mm projectiles called dual-purpose advanced conventional munitions that the U.S. has recently delivered to Ukraine. Dan Rice, who lobbied for the Pentagon to send cluster munitions as special advisor to Ukraine's military leadership, told Insider that Washington should provide DPICM for HIMARS rockets. That's the biggest thing in this war. HIMARS reached Ukraine for the first time last summer and was immediately celebrated by the Kiev troops. Precision rockets can hit targets about 50 miles away, much further than the M777 howitzer. With a range of just over 15 miles, endanger valuable Russian positions such as command and control points, ammunition depots. As HIMARS expands Ukraine's reach beyond US-supplied M777s delivered early in the war, weapon was touted as a game-changing system in Kiev's brutal artillery duel with Russia. Since Russia's battlefield tactics are highly dependent on its ability to sustain artillery fire, Ukraine used HIMARS to weaken Moscow's ammunition depot by hitting it, but not the artillery itself. Ukraine's HIMARS has forced Russia to move munitions, command control, and key logistics centers deeper into the front lines to remove them from HIMARS range, reduce their vulnerabilities. Even HIMARS changed battlefield. Weapons such as howitzers remained critical, and the relentless artillery shifts did not stop. Battle dragged on. Ukraine continued to burn its traditional stocks of 155 mm artillery shells, straining the stocks of its Western military backers. To alleviate this burden, the U.S. announced in July that it will equip Kiev with 155 mm DPICMs. The remains of artillery shells and missiles, including cluster munitions, are stored in Toretsk, Ukraine. On December 18, 2022, Pierre Crom While cluster munitions are more effective and deadly than conventional munitions used by Ukraine. Or submunitions sometimes fail to explode, and unexploded ordnance can pose a risk to civilians long after the war has ended. White House and Pentagon officials defended the move, saying DPICMs would help Ukraine maintain high rates of fire. They also said that any effect of cluster munitions would be less devastating for Ukraine than losing it to Russia. This will change the war. Cluster munitions have already made a difference on the battlefield for Ukraine, which continues its grueling counterattack. But Rice said that Kiev's military need is